Hi everybody. Today I'm going to demo a Creative Grids half 60 triangle ruler. So this is half of a 60-degree triangle. So this is a 60-degree triangle. I don't know if you can see that. And that's half of it. The nice thing about this is if you notice, I'm going to get my little white background. I don't know if that helps. So this is my 60 degree, and if I put that up to it, it's more than over half, right? Because it adds the 1/4 inch that you're gonna need. And then again, it has the little trim here at the bottom. And this one is 12.5 inches. So that's as big a triangle as I can cut. As always, they come with some directions for some blocks, and I'm going to go over these and show you a couple projects that I did with them. Okay, so let's get started. So the basic shape that we start with is just the triangle, the half 60 triangle. And what's important with this is if you want them going all the same direction, meaning I want them all like this direction, not some like this, right? So I want them all on this side. I'm going to take my fabric, and when you get fabric, it has the right sides or wrong sides together like this. You don't want to leave it like that. You actually want to take them and put them like this, or just open up the strip. So you can just open up the strip and start cutting. Okay, so just don't leave it like this for this, what I'm going to show you. So I'm going to put these two with right sides up, and then I could go cut. I am going to show you though just one layer, because I'm going to show you what happens when we do the opposite. Okay, so here we are, and I'm just going to take my triangle and I'm going to line it up. This is a 3.5 inch strip, so I'm going to line that up to the top, and then that's my 3.5 inch strip. So along that line. You see that? Nice, eh? Okay, so I'm just going to cut. Then what I'm going to do is I'm just going to turn this around this way, and I'm going to line this up. So now it's your direction, and I'm going to cut. Okay, so there they are, and then I'm going to go like this and cut. And cut. So I go along and I do a bunch of these. Now I could finish the whole strip. Okay, and then my next one, I would actually flip. I don't think I have it. Oh, I might have. Yeah, so this is a 3.5 inch strip too, but because I want it to be on the opposite, I'm actually gonna cut it from the wrong side. And then that's gonna give me my opposite cut. I'm just gonna straighten this one out, so I have a nice straight line to begin with. That gets thrown away. Okay. So I'm just going to start, I'm just going to move these over so you can see a little better. Get that close, might help. So again, I'm going to place it on the 3.5 inch line. It's very easy, you're just going to line up the top and then hit it. Ta-da! And then flip it. So remember, right side up, wrong side up. And then there we go. And then I continue along until I have enough. And now you see these are going in the different directions. So I can have, and sewing these together will give me a 3 inch finished triangle. Ta-da! So that's an important part of when you do this and you want two like one side and one side. You want to do one side, wrong side up, the other one, right side up. Okay? Now, we can do another thing here. We can, so there's my fabric right side up, and if I cut it like this, just random, I didn't really iron this, but okay. And then I'm going to go like this. Now see what happens is I have one going one way and one going the other way. So if I'm wanting to have all my dots going this way, I'm going to keep the fabric both right side up. Because otherwise, like if I did that again, then I'd have mix, which could be a project, and it actually on the one I'll show you it is. But when you want one different, you definitely want to watch. So like this one, I wanted all my whites on one side, and then all my red on one side, and then what happens is I sew them together like that, right? So if I did them willy-nilly, like I was cutting those, I'd have some red here and some red here, and then I couldn't do the circle. They wouldn't be alternating. Now the nice thing about this is when I sew these together, I press them open, which you'll know I don't like to do, but does call for it. You just flip these and you sew them like that. And then when you get here, you really want this point, these two, you're gonna be coming your sewing line right like that. And so when your needle hits, you want it to hit right in the middle of the red and white on both sides, and then that's going to allow you to have a nice 1/4 inch, so that you have a 1/4 inch in the middle, and then all the points keep nice. So this is actually one of the things in here. There you go, right there. Oh, call it like a mint candy. And then this is what it would end up like. Ta-da! So my plan is that these are going to become little toss cushions. Aren't they sweet? For Christmas, obviously. Well, actually, I could even use them for Valentine's Day. But look at my points there. Yep. So they just all swirled. And all I did was I sewed these two together and then this to this. So you had half like that. And then you sew the other half. And then you sew the halves together. Cute, eh? So I have 2 of those. Okay, then the next thing, let's grab this, is just doing a quilt and just doing a rectangle block using the half squares. So for this, really, I could keep, like if I wanted all my yellow this way, I could do that, but I really actually don't care. So when I get the fabric, I leave it up. Leave it the way it came. I do actually iron it and get it all nice and straight. So I'm going to have that like that. Now these are 8.5 inch strips. So I can do anywhere in between, like 1, who would do that, but someone, oh, friend of mine. I'm just going to give that a straight edge, get that selvage off. All the way up to 12.5, and the quilt that I'm going to show you and that will be at the store, I used the 12.5. So this is 8.5, and all I'm going to do is take my ruler and I'm going to cut a bunch of 8.5 inch half 60-degree triangles. Move it a little. One of the things I do like to do is I'm going to move it up, and see that little notch? I'm just going to cut it off. Okay. So my square has that little notch out, which is really nice for piecing. On the 12.5, I obviously didn't have to do that because the 12.5 was already there. I didn't have to move it up, but just take a little time, move that up and cut that off. So then I'm going to do 8.5 this way. I'm going to move that up. Cut that little twig there. Cut these. Line that back up. I shifted it somehow. So that's 8.5 there, my line. And then I'm just going to cut the little twig off. I actually don't need my rotary cutter. Rotary cutter, my rotating mat. I'm going to get rid of it because I want to do this whole one, because at the end, I'll show you something. Okay, so here I am again. And cut that little one again. Get my little clip off. Now you'll see when I'm getting towards the end here, I'm going to have a piece that I can't really do a whole triangle with. I just keep missing that little part there. Okay. So by this, so I can't do fit a whole triangle there. It won't fit. I'm going to lose part of it. So what I do with this last part is I'm going to leave it open. If I opened it up like this and cut it, I could get 2 more triangles. And so I would do that. But my next strip, my last part, what I would do is maybe flip it so I get the opposite triangles. Does that make sense? So I'm going to have equal amounts of triangles going one way. Okay, so I left this with wrong sides together. So I have a bunch of different triangles like this. So they're all different sides. So I'm just going to put them all in a pile. Right sides up. How did I miss that guy? Okay. There. So I'm just going to sort them out. So I'm not going to obviously sew these ones together. Oh, and I'm just going to do the last 2. Right sides up. Okay. Do my little clip here. I'll flip here. So what that did is it gave me 2 extra triangles, but they're going the same way because I cut them with my right sides up. But that was most efficient for the fabric, right? So I have 2 extra going that way. So on my next strip, I'm going to keep them again just with fold, and I'm going to do 2 at a time. And I want them random for this quilt that I did. So I don't want them all going in the same direction, and you'll see why. But I want equal amounts of triangles for each side. So back we go. Cut. Cut. And just line that up for the corner and cut. Just like watching paint dry. Or watching golf on TV. Just kidding for you golf lovers. Okay. Get a couple more here. Trim off my little edge. Okay. Another one. Now this fabric's just not as wide. So I might not get that. Oh, you know what? That's because I did the wrong size. Oops. Huh, like, I'll make Deb feel better. See, we're doing this cut. So this was going to be opened, right? If it was as big a piece as I was hoping, right? It would have been opened. And instead of cutting it with right side up, I would cut 2 more triangles with wrong side, and then I would end up with 2 triangles that go into this pile, because I have 2 extra in this pile, and now I'd have 2 extra that way. You know, I don't fret about miscuts because well, stuff happens, right? But I always have a few extra triangles anyways, so I'm not worried about that. But I want to show you that when you get to those ends, just maybe alternate the directions so you're going to get equal amounts if you really want to. Missed another little tip. Okay. So now I have a bunch of these. Now if I was only doing a 2-color quilt, I would keep them all in the same direction. So I would have done all my blues with the wrong side up and all my yellows with the right side up, so that I could alternate, right? But with the quilt that I did, I had a lot, about 4 different fabrics, I think, and then it just became more scrappy looking. So then these, this is how you're going to sew. Take a yellow one out of there. So this is going to get sewn like this. So I'll have a bunch of rectangles. Did I lose my little white thing? I'm going to put it back. So I'm going to have some that go that way. And I'm going to have some that go that way, right? Yeah. Nice, eh? So this would be, actually this would work out if you did it all like that. So you could do 2 because they're alternating. And then the next rectangle, we would do this. Ta-da! Or if you were doing them, like I said, with all the blues in the right side up, you would actually have them going like this. And all the yellows. Oops. Yikes. I can't seem to get the right triangle here. There we go. Okay. Or they'd be like that. And then my next row would be the same too. So you can play around with it. I'm going to show you the quilt I did. This is just 2 colors. Lots of options though. So that's creating a rectangle using... Now, the nice thing about when I did this before I put these away, when I sew these, because... Again, wrong triangle here. So when I'm sewing these, I cut these little things off, and then when I line them up, they're going to line up really nicely. So see, that's lined up, and then I just do a 1/4 inch, and then this top lines up too. And then my 1/4 inch comes down, and perfect. And then that's how I get really nice 1/4 inches, and I'm not losing my points on these triangles. So I will just show you the quilt. We'll throw that away. That I did using this, and I used 12.5 strips. So I'm using the full length of the ruler to do these. Cute little baby quilt. So kind of just random, right? Like I just played with the blocks. Put some nice pink fireside on the back so you can see them up close. Cute, eh? Yeah, so just random and scrappy. Cute little baby quilt. Oh, cute little tag. Yay. Okay, throw that on the floor. Okay, so the next one I want to show you, the other thing that you can do with this, which is really neat, is on the other side, and it's half hexes and half diamonds. And you can also do the trapezoids. I didn't do anything with that yet though, but you can play with that on your own. So with the, let's do the diamond first. Okay, so with the diamond, you take on the directions that has you using 4.5 inch strips, and then you fold them in lengthwise. I just want to show you that you can use any size strips. So this is 6 inch size strip, not 6.5, 6 inch. So it doesn't really matter unless you want a certain size diamond, then it does. I folded in lengthwise. So on the directions it tells you cut a 4.5 inch strip, and then line the ruler up to the 2 1/4 line, right? So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna line it up to the 3 inch line. So no biggie, right? Like it doesn't, yeah, so you can use any strip. Don't feel that you just have to do that one. So I folded this in lengthwise, gave it a nice press, and then now I have this lined up to the 3 inch line, and I'm just gonna cut on either side, and that's my selvage I'm cutting off. I was gonna use my rotating mats because might freak Carrie out when I cut that way. What I want to tell you though is you can't do this, it'll do nothing. So, except cut a weird shape. Okay, so you're gonna have a little bit of waste, like, what is that? Nothing. Or, just cut it like that, and now you have little half square triangles for something else. Okay? So you're only going to get your diamonds by going in one direction. One direction, one direction, one direction. Switching it around just gives you a triangle. So if you want to do that, you're welcome to. So probably don't cut it the way I did. So if I wanted to use those, if I wanted to bring it around and use that, I certainly could. And just open it and cut it on that press line, and then I'm going to have some triangles. But, so really with the diamonds, all we're doing is the same directions, like that. And then I'm going to line that up like that again. Cut on both sides of the ruler. If I do it like that, my triangle is going to be even smaller because I didn't leave the 1/4 square there. So if you plan on using those little triangles, of course, you know, if you're doing this bigger, they would be bigger triangles and more useful. So I just go along and I do that, and I keep doing it. Now, obviously, I don't want to have these triangles the same color on the other side, but notice that these don't matter. So you get both sides. They're not like the triangles where you have to watch your placement, but I want a different size. So I'm going to take the same size strip in my alternating color, and I'm going to do the same thing. Okay, so I just go along and do that. Now you can see my diamonds. Ta-da! And of course, it doesn't matter what side they go on, they're the same. So again, not nice? And when you bring them together to sew, they're not a point there, they're flat. And you sew a 1/4 inch, and that's going to leave a 1/4 inch for your point of your diamond, which is super nice. So you can do a bunch of these. Now you can sew them like this. So this is how your row, I'm going to come a couple more just to show you how the row is going to be sewn, because I think that's pretty important. Gives you an idea what it's going to look like when you sew them. We'll start these up in this corner. So I lay out my, once they were sewn together, these would actually be like this. That one would be there. Maybe I'll get another one. I don't want to cut too many because, you know, not fun watching someone cut a gazillion diamonds, but okay, so that would go there. Okay, so you can see what's happening here, and obviously our rows aren't this way, our rows are this way. So I sew the diamonds together, and then I'm going to play with it, and then when I want to sew with it, just think of it like this. There's your row. Okay, so you sew a row, row, row. Okay, and I'm going to show you what I made with the diamonds. It's quite nice, actually. Okay, so these are the diamonds. So you can see this is my row here. So 1 row, 2 rows, 3 rows. And then if you wanted to end it, you could actually put, you know, you start getting that piece there, but this is a diamond triangle. Isn't that nice? Yeah. Ta-da! Okay, so a nice little table topper, actually for spring. Actually, it'd look good now too for Valentine's Day. Now the next one I'm going to show you, we're done with that one. Let's throw it on the floor. We'll head to the store. Is half hexies. Okay. So half hexies, same idea. We start off with a strip of fabric. Again, it doesn't matter what size it is. So you can make really, like if you had a big print, you don't want to do this size. And then again in the directions, it has you doing a 4.5 inch strip. And then you line it up to the 4.25 inch line. So there's 4 and we go 4.25. This is a 6 inch. So 6 divided, I'm going to do half of that. So if it was 6.5 inches, I'd line it up to 3.25. So this is 6 inches, so I'm actually going to line this up to 5.75. So I'm just going to use my white thing to show you. I'm going to put the fold your way. So there's my fold at the bottom. This is 6 inches. And, right way? Yeah. So I want to go 6 inches minus a 1/4 inch. So I'm going to do 5 3/4. So my 5 3/4 line is right there. And so you can see that this is square. And this again, you're going to have waist there, so you're just going to keep cutting them this way. So whatever the width of your strip is, minus a 1/4 inch, and that's the line that you follow on the fold. Okay, so I'm going to cut some to show you. Okay, 5 3/4, right? Measure twice, cut once. Okay, so there's one. Again, there's going to be my waist, about 5 3/4. You know, too, this is where these little arrows come in handy. Do I not have any left on that? I have some green ones though. So if you once you get it figured out, just take that arrow and I put them on the ruler like that. So I know what line I'm going to go. So that stops you from maybe going to the 5 or whatever, but that just points out where I want to go all the time. See, I want to keep going to the 5 1/4, but I want 5 3/4. So that little arrow helps out. Of course, we sell those. Okay. I'm going to do a few of these. See, because the other thing I want to do is I want to do a triangle, and I don't want to do that. We're doing hexes. So go to that green arrow. Save myself some grief. Now I'm just going to do a few on this one too. So this is another 6-inch strip. Again, the same we used as the triangles. Fold it in half lengthwise. My fold is at the bottom there. And again, bring it to that little arrow line. Do a couple more. Okay, so I have a bunch of half hexes, and you're not worrying about direction with them. They're all going this way. Just get my little line up here, and then this is how they go. Now with hexagons, lots of patterns out there too. Basically with this, if you're going to piece them like this, you're going to have what they call an inset seam. So it's going to go something like that, but yeah. See how those are fitting together? So when you sew these together, so you sew these together, that's easy enough, press them. When you sew this to here, you're going to start a 1/4 inch in and stop a 1/4 inch out. I just want to show you something on your 1/4 inch feet. I just took it off mine. So with your 1/4 inch foot on the Bernina, if you see on the side, they have these little markings. So these little markings, that one is a 1/4 inch away from your edge or your seam. So when that hits, that's where I want to stop. So when I'm sewing this, like this, and that little niche hits there, I'm going to stop, and that's going to leave me a 1/4 inch for the inset seam. I hope that makes sense. On that little project I did, I avoided the whole inset seam thing. And how I did that is I made these little triangles for here. But those triangles don't fit because there's 1/4 inch. And how I did that though is really I probably could have used these, if I cut them in half, right, that would just about fit, but I did do that, and it might not have left a 1/4 inch all the time. So what I did is I took 6 1/4. So that my strip, if it's 6 1/2 and 6 1/4, I actually took half of 6 1/2 and added a 1/4. That makes sense. So for my project, well, this is 6. I would add a 1/4. Divide that in half and add a 1/4. So how do I say that right? Okay. So if I have 6 1/2, I'm going to divide that by 2, and that leaves me 3 1/4. And for that one, I added 1/2 inch. So I even went a little bit more. I could do it with a 1/4, but for mine, I went 1/2 inch because I rather trim it down. So that's what it's going to look like. But that gave me a little bit extra to trim down and keep that 1/4 inch there. So I'm just going to show you how that looked. So a little bit of math, but really, if you think 3 1/2, add 1/2 inch at least, right? I rather have it trimmed down and have a nice 1/4 inch. So when I sewed this, I put my triangle. So I did cut these triangles. So I would have had a little strip, and they would have been 3 3/4 wide. And I left the right sides or wrong sides together because I actually need a piece on either side. So I do need them to be not the same direction, different directions. So that's when I cut them with wrong sides together. Okay. So I wanted all my burgundies to have one of each. So by cutting these triangles, that's what I got. Okay, so for that, we sewed that little triangle, and I had the little nick off. Remember that little nick at the bottom? So that is actually what I lined up. I started from this edge. So I lined up that flat part, and I sewed a 1/4 inch down. And then I would press that. And then my next one too, I line that flat up here with this edge. And then I sew a 1/4 inch. Okay. And then I'm going to press that. My iron's probably cold, so it's not going to press very well. So see, I have like, how big is that? It's 3/8, so that's bigger than a 1/4 inch, but then I can trim that off, right? So I'm just gonna trim that off nice and straight and leave a 1/4 inch there of this. So that way when I come in and do my 1/4 inch seam, it's gonna be right on that point, okay? If I did the other way, I found that it was just pushing it that I might not have had that 1/4 inch. So add at least a 1/2 inch probably, right? Depends how good you are at piecing, I guess. Don't go showing off. I'm just kidding. Anyways, for the amount of fabric it took, a little bit more. And with that, so you can see what I did is I made these hexies. So these two fabrics, and then these two fabrics. And then these hexies always got the burgundy on them, and these ones always got the dark turquoise. And then that way I laid it out, and I didn't have to do inset seams. And then you create this other look here too, right? This other diamond. Interesting enough, when I had this, I could have put the squares like this, having this part up here. I should say it like this, that way, right? And then have them too. It would have made this a little wider, not any longer necessarily, a little shorter actually, but I find that my 1/4 inches here are harder to keep with binding, because by that time I'm just sewing on the binding. But when I do it this way, so I don't have any 1/4 inches to worry about down here, but when I brought them up here, it was easy to piece and line them up. Right, so I kept my nice points and really showed it off. So that's just Hexies. Nice, eh? Nice little table runner. And you could do a whole quilt like that. And then just the quilting on the back. This was kind of neat. I just wanted to, maybe I should talk about that. I like to count or say something when I'm quilting that gets me in the rhythm. One of my all over designs are, I call them 3s and 8s. So I'm always doing a 3 or an 8. If you look at them closely, sometimes you can see that. But with this one, I drew the pie lines here. And then at the center, I went big hill, little hill, big hill, little hill, big hill, little hill. And as I said that, my big hill, as soon as I finished saying it, I went to little hill. Big hill, little hill. And I just find that helps me get that rhythm like that. Yeah, nice. It was really easy. But, you know, you'll find your own way. But to me, talking to myself apparently helps. Until I get that rhythm down, and then it's okay. Okay, I think that's everything. Yeah, so, oh, the little triangles. You have all these annoying little triangles left, right? What are you going to do with them? I can just rip those apart. So if you're really, of course these are little, you can actually sew them together, right? They're not going to be perfect because they're so small and there's no cut on them for a triangle, but they might look pretty good. So what I did with that, you can make a little mug rug. I have not quilted this. It's not perfect, but I used up all the little triangles enough that I'm going to throw the rest away and not feel bad. But, you know, if you're someone that wants to use every piece, you can do this. Okay. Thanks, everybody. Oh, not done yet. Okay, so at the store, I already have this done up. It's red, white, and black, and it uses the halves triangle, 60-degree triangle ruler. So that's cute little. These are very affordable patterns too. So $4.97. And then this one, slice it up, really like. So I'm actually doing 2 of these in 2 different colorways because I used a jelly roll. If you get the pattern, I will send you a video on just how I used it. And if we walk over here, you probably can see it's just going to get finished quilting. Okay. Oh, we have to have some doggy time before we go. Say hi, puppies. Blarney has his Batman shirt on. He's got a little sore he's been licking, so. Na-na-na-na-na-na, Batman. Okay. Thanks, everybody. Enjoy the snow. See you next time.